Eagles and the Falcons. We have two different bets on this one. Brad has a bet. Steven has a bet. Brad, Eagles on the money line, my friend. Let's hear this. Eagles on the money line. They are 3-point underdogs on the road to start the season at the Falcons.
This was my favorite bet of the week. I think. I think there's huge mismatches on both lines, basically. Like the Falcons offensive line is bad. Let me just get PFS projections for it. 24th in the NFL, and then they're injured as well. They're basically down to a third string left guard. And so he's going to be going up against the absolute strength of the Eagles defense, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox. Like they are going to be in Matt Ryan's face. I don't think they can protect him. And then the other side of the ball, the Eagles offensive line last year was one of the most injured in the league. A league worst, 57 adjusted games lost along the offensive line. But they were still pretty good. They were still 11th in ESPN's pass block win rate. And they were made to look a lot worse by Carson Wentz just holding onto the ball, essentially, which is why they look bad. So they get basically fully healthy. They are veterans. We don't know how long they're going to last. But, this is like a top 5 offensive line. And the Falcons pass rush is Grady Jarrett and absolutely nothing else. And then they also have they've got no secondary. They haven't had a secondary for 3 years, and they've just done nothing. They've signed 3 different sort of bargain bins, corners for $1 million each, but none of them project to be even sort of an average starter. So I just think the Eagles are going to bully them on both sides of the ball. And I don't think they should be underdogs, to be honest.
Steven, you also have a bet in this one of the prop bet variety. This Falcons team led in 13 of 16 games last year. They led at halftime in 9 games last year, and they only won 4 of the games that they led in halftime. In the last 30 years, only 6 teams have blown more halftime leads than the Falcons did last year. It was just a historically crazy run of ineptitude for this Falcons team. That said, you are looking at Calvin Ridley in this game.
Yeah, I think quite possibly the only place where the Falcons could have a positive mismatch in their favor is Calvin Ridley against the Eagles cornerbacks. So now we'll see whether or not Matt Ryan has enough time to throw it, because everything Brad just said about the mismatches in the trenches on both sides of the ball is completely true. And the Eagles should have a pass funnel defense in this game. The Falcons offense was 29th in weighted rush DVOA, and they're facing an Eagles D that was 13th in weighted rush DVOA a year ago. So we should see more passing with a run game that's going to struggle for the Falcons. So the bet for me is Ridley over 82.5 receiving yards. Most books have it at 85.5. I'm still okay with that number. In the 9 games last year where Julio Jones played less than 50% of snaps or just didn't play at all, Ridley went over 85.5 yards 6 times. So that's 67% of the time, better than the implied probability of the juice you're going to get on his over number in this game. And overall last year, in every game, Ridley went over that number in 8 of 14 games he started. That's 57% of the time. That's right on par with the juice that you have to pay in this one. And given the matchup, I like taking this over. So, Ridley had a ton of games last year where he smashed that number. He had games where he had 120 yards, 130 yards. So I think given his talent and his usage, he should have double-digit targets easy in this game. And the number one cornerback that could be shadowing him, Darius Slay, I think his best days are behind him. He has declined significantly since being in Detroit. 115.6 passer rating allowed last year. I think you can actually make the argument that the other cornerback that the Eagles brought in, Steven Nelson, is better at this point than Darius Slay.